Zach's first love, girlfriend, best friend, last best friend, whatever you want to call it. It was very complicated. It all started when we caught each other's eye the minute that we looked at each other at Logan Wise's house in 2013. Don't know if y'all remember that, Donovan, Logan, when he like fell backwards in that chair and like all we saw was his feet sticking up. Oh, Zach was unintentionally funny. He was patient and living from day one, unlike a lot of people these days. I honestly want to read this like I'm talking to him, so if you don't mind. I said, you were consistently loving and giving time, giving things, giving money, giving love or advice. I know you're always there for me and anyone you cared about, even people you didn't know. It's one of the main reasons why I fell so hardly in love with you. You were so outgoing, whereas I was more reserved. I immediately felt like I could always talk with you for hours and hours about any and everything. Of course, we all know you were good at talking. I'll never forget when you would sneak out to come see me when neither of us wanted to be alone, and you would just hold me and talk until we had about an hour left till we were supposed to be getting up and ready for school. My favorite story that showed how much you cared for me was I was out with my best friend one day, and we got too lit, so I got sick. I was freaking out. My phone was on 3%, and I'm trying to call and text you to come get me before my phone dies. Barely sent the address on time. You got there to pick me up and took me home with you. I passed out for a few hours, so you were playing video games and let me sleep. When I finally woke up, you said your mom had made food, and if I wanted to eat something, then went to make me a plate and brought it to me. Even at 16, you went out of your way for me when I was in an uncomfortable situation. No matter what people put you through, you never stopped being like that. My heart breaks over timing and circumstances weren't always on our side, but you'll always be my first everything. My first true love, my first really painful heartbreak. This feels like that all over again, but 10 times worse. The first and only man that I could call my guy best friend, and unfortunately my first and closest loss I've had to grieve in my life. This is the first time I've ever felt so distraught as well as so much anger because I wish I could have saved you from the people who took advantage of your big heart. I know that I was your first everything too, and that you also loved me to death. You always told me that. Thank you for always telling me that, for reminding me that I was always doing the best that I can. Thank you for showing me that it doesn't hurt to be affectionate to people close to you. I'm sorry that I was being so cold and selfish the last couple months. I just wanted to see you get better and make better decisions, and I'd give anything to have you back. I never stopped loving you. I know that other people I'm going to lose in my life will hurt too, but definitely not like this. I don't want this to be our new reality. Heartbroken doesn't even begin to describe this pain, and it hurts even more knowing that I'm not the only one that's feeling this way. You always found a way to touch the souls of people that you came in contact with. I just want to wake up in the middle of the night to you calling and saying you didn't want to be alone, so I'd come over. The next day we'd go to Cancun Lagoon and eat Mexican, have margaritas, and that one time we went to the massage place with the Asian ladies. They kept calling me your girlfriend. We both knew it was too complicated to explain, so we went with it because it was easier than getting into our life story. We'd come back to the house and go back and forth playing music, talking, reminiscing, laughing, and crying. We listened to literally anything from DMX to Motley Crue or Justin Timberlake. I really miss hearing you pretend to be at the concert screaming, Justin! Justin! You'd also listen to people like Olivia Rodrigo, even Frank Sinatra, and I finally got you to like Billie Eilish too. Sometimes you played this French vinyl on your record player just to sit there and feel the music, not even knowing what they were saying. You loved that I never judged you for being in your element. I just loved seeing you happy. And if we weren't listening to music, you were showing me YouTube videos from your favorite clips from Family Guy or SpongeBob and quoting them while they played and dying laughing like it was the first time you'd ever heard it. You'd also show me your favorite movie, Donnie Darko, and told me to watch it again before you give me your full opinion on what everything in it means. I hate that I'll never hear your input on the movie. But I got this tattoo for you since you didn't get a chance to get it. And of course the bunny was a must too, you already know why. Sorry, can't tell you that. Anyways, every night you would go to sleep with all your pillows, like 3 layers of blankets, the fan on and listening to the Skyrim Atmosphere song. Then you would wake up in the morning when I'd stay there, whether it was just me or me and my son Marley, who you considered your godson, and offer to make us eggs, toast, and bacon for breakfast. The way you would play with Marley, sometimes so I could get some sleep. I'll always remember you teaching him how to hold a PlayStation controller and how to play the SpongeBob game that you bought just for him to play. Hopefully Marley will remember that too. I know he looked up to you quoting, "Where's the king of the castle?" because he heard you say that about Ellis. You told me in a letter that you wrote for me before your deployment, quote, "You have such a big heart that's just waiting to burst out," but really that was you. You would constantly be giving me things of yours just so I could have them because you felt that I needed and or deserved them for being a single mom. like your PlayStation, hoodies, shirts, and when you went out of your way to buy me gifts for Valentine's Day and spent it with me this year because I didn't have anyone that I was with at the time and neither did you. You said, even as friends, you deserve something for Valentine's Day. Anytime the PlayStation wasn't working right, you would drive for the 40 minutes just to come fix it for me. I miss your laugh. I miss you singing your lungs out and lungs and heart out to mock Chad Kroger from Nickelback. I wish you guys could have heard that video earlier because it was really funny. It is on my Facebook if you're friends with me. You were always saying something to make people laugh everywhere you went. You were and always will be everything to me and a lot to all of us because you just had that kind of impact on people. We all have our demons, but you always did your best to make sure everyone around you was taken care of. You wanted to save everyone so much that you forgot to save yourself too. I was told that a few days ago you had walked up to one of your neighbors who lost their husband and had just asked her, "Can I give you a hug?" and told her I love you. Just a random neighbor that you could tell was hurting and needed some love. You were there to give it. There's so many memories and things I could say about you. So many songs that will always remind me of you for the rest of my life. They'll play in my head till the end of time. I'm always going to see, hear, and feel you and everything around me somehow because I can't live my life as if you're not or with me or I might lose it. Friday night, I just felt so off. And I thought to call you, but we were going through one of our times of not talking to each other, so I didn't, and I'll forever wish I did. I'm always going to be sorry if I made you feel like I wasn't there for you. I'd give anything to take you up on your offer to cuddle. This just doesn't feel real. I don't know how to handle this at all. I wish I told you while you were here that I love and miss you because you were so good to me, and I'll never find a love like ours. I'm honored that I've got to experience this. All the different forms of love you had to give, from being your lover, somewhat enemy. We weren't together, but you were still there for me. And in the end, loving me as your best friend, no matter how many times we'd fall off and come back together. I'll always appreciate you being able to come back around and say sorry. Some people can admit their wrongs, but you always did. As long as my heart is still beating, there's a spot for you in it too, Zach. I would like to quote some lyrics from a song that's been on repeat for me since Sunday after it all happened. It's called Ghost by Justin Bieber. Young blood thinks there's always tomorrow. I miss your touch some nights when I'm hollow. I know you crossed the bridge that I can't follow. Since the love that you left is all that I get, I want you to know that if I can't be close to you, I'll settle for the ghost of you. I miss you more than life. And if you can't be next to me, your memory is ecstasy. I miss you more than life. Young blood thinks there's always tomorrow. I need more time, but time can't be borrowed. I'd leave it all behind if I could follow. Since the love that you left is all that I get, I want you to know that. Zach Kanoza, I miss you and I love you. Your soul lives on through our hearts and in our memories, and you will always be missed so much. I hope you see now just how much you were truly loved and how many people always had your back. You are and always will be loved. Signed, Bunny.